because you can actually taste the grapefruit in it. It's really nice. And then for today's glass, I decided to use my new heart-shaped iridescent wine glass that I got for my birthday. I don't think I can fit all of it in there, so I will fill it up as I need to. I also have a glass iridescent straw as well. Okay, let's jump into the books now. Okay, so I'm going to go in order of when I read each book just to keep it somewhat organized. So the first book is like a self-help kind of book, I guess you could say, and it's the only one that I read last year. And it's called Sober on a Drunk Planet by Sean Alexander. And last year I very heavily gave up alcohol. And towards the middle to end of the year I would drink here and there, but I really don't enjoy it anymore. And reading a book like this really puts a lot of things into perspective. And this pretty much covers how everything socially is centered around alcohol. And there's a lot of good points in here. And it was just nice to see someone else's perspective on how toxic alcohol is and how the average person needs it as a crutch for many things. So it was a nice little read on that topic. The reason why I got this outside today, a shocker. So yeah, that was the first book that I read in 2023. And by the way, I do have a Goodreads account. It's linked down below. If you want to be friends on there, I will add you back, of course. I like seeing what everyone else is reading, and I like keeping track of what I'm reading as well. Okay, so next. Is Autumn of the Grimoire. I started this book at the end of 2022, and then I finally finished it at the beginning of last year. And I really enjoyed this book. It's based on 4 sister witches, but this one focuses on Sister Autumn. And the author is releasing each book for each sister. The next one in the series is called Winter of the Wicked, and that is on my TBR. But I really enjoyed the plot of this book. I thought it was super interesting and fun. And I like the idea that it follows 4 different sister witches, like with each book. I think that's really cool. So this is like a enemies to lovers plot. And I personally love that one. That's one of my favorite tropes, is enemies to lovers. I could read the backs of these, but I feel like I've done that before in all my other videos. But I haven't read this one in a while, so I think I will read a little bit of the back to kind of set the scene for you. A mysterious grimoire, a marriage full of dark secrets, a history sculpted by a quartet of sister witches. For 300 years, Sister Autumn has incited wars, burnt villages, killed kings, and released plagues at the bidding of the grimoire. Meanwhile, her sister Winter, Sister Spring, and Sister Summer have brought forth only peace. When an order from the grimoire sends Agatha to the kingdom of Merivale, she already anticipates the worst, unless she wants to face the wrath of the goddess. Agatha must keep her head down and do as she is commanded, but when the grimoire orders her to marry a pompous prince and play the role of a peasant accepted by vicious aristocrats, she finds herself at the center of a war between the classes in an age-old prophecy. Within the court, many players harbor dark secrets, including her new husband. With her newfound influence, Agatha joins forces with the city's blacklisted in order to blur the lines between the common man and the elite, unravel the mysteries in her marriage, and decide once and for all if she will defy the grimoire and face the brutal consequences. And that's like the main thing about it, is there's this book called The Grimoire, and it has like a task for each sister, for each season, and hers are always the devastating ones. But yeah, so far I really enjoyed the first book, and I definitely would like to get the next one and continue from there. And the author is J.L. Vampa, by the way. And this cover art, stunning. One of my favorite covers out of all the books I have here. Absolutely beautiful. Next up, we have The Hobbit. So, it's a really good read. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and this year I'm going to tackle the 3 Lord of the Rings books and reread them again since it's been truly so long. I think the last time was high school, and that was a long time ago. But I really, really like the cover on this one, and the Lord of the Rings, the rest of them all have the same cover art with the black and gold. I think it's so pretty. I love Tolkien's work. It's so good. It's definitely a different writing style than, more modern work, of course, so it can be a little difficult to read and get into if you're not interested in this kind of fantasy series. It's major world building and really detailed, at least in my opinion. I cannot get over how noisy it is outside. I have to keep stopping. It's one of those days, you guys. I've been too lucky lately with how quiet it's been, so I was bound to have another noisy day come up. So that is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, these next 2 books are part of a series, and let me just say, if you aren't a fan of smut or can't handle the smut, these 2 books will 110% not be for you. Now me, I eat that up. I love the smutty books. No complaints there. And the first one in this series is Neon Gods. I've talked about it on my channel before, and it's by Katie Robert. And I have the second book as well, but this one is based around Hades and Persephone. It's like a modern storytelling on the Greek gods and goddesses. And this book has a lot of mixed reviews because some people say it's all smut and no plot, but I highly disagree with that statement. I think there's plenty of plot, and that is why I liked it so much. And the smut is just chef's kiss, so for all my spicy book lovers, give this series a try. This is not for like the goody two-shoes who get offended by everything. That's all I'm gonna say. Like this is spicy, okay? And so is the next one. I've seen reviews where people are like, "Oh, that book is disgusting." Well, obviously it is a smutty, spicy book, so tread with caution. That's all I'll say. So like I said, this one follows Hades and Persephone, and I'll read you the back a little bit as well. He was supposed to be a myth, but from the moment I crossed the river Styx and fell under his dark spell, he was quite simply mine. Society darling Persephone Demetrio plans to escape the ultra-modern city of Olympus and start over far from the backstabbing politics of the 13 houses. But all that's ripped away when her mother ambushes her with an engagement to Zeus, the dangerous power behind their glittering city's dark facade. With no options left, Persephone flees to the forbidden Undercity and makes a devil's bargain with a man she once believed a myth, a man who awakens her to a world she never knew existed. Hades has spent his life in shadows, and he has no intention of stepping into the light. But when he finds that Persephone can offer a little slice of the revenge he's spent years craving, it's all the excuse he needs to help her for a price. for 6 books. And I'm gonna keep reading them. But yeah, this won't be for everyone. But like I said, if you love a spicy read, check out this series. So that's Neon Gods, and then the next one, Electric Idol. And this one follows Persephone's sister Psyche and Eros, which becomes a love interest of Psyche. Again, dual perspective from both of their points of view. And I really like the matte covers on these, by the way. I think they sound nice. I've always been a paperback girly. Hardcovers are okay if that's like the only thing I can get, but I do prefer a paperback. They're just easier to hold when you're reading, at least in my opinion. Again, super spicy, as this whole series probably is. But I'll read you the back. He was the most beautiful man in Olympus and the most deadly. In the ultra-modern city of Olympus, there's always a price to pay. Psyche Demetrio knew she'd have to face Aphrodite eventually, but she never expected her literal heart to be at stake, or for Aphrodite's gorgeous son to be the one ordered to strike the killing blow. Eros has no problem shedding blood, raised to be his mother's knife in the dark. He's been conditioned to accept that he's more monster than man, but when it comes time to take out his latest target, he can't do it. Confused by his reaction to Psyche's unexpected kindness, he does the only thing he can think of to keep her safe. He binds her to him, body and soul. Psyche didn't expect to find herself married to the city's most dangerous killer, but something about Eros awakens a fire she's never felt before. As lines blur and loyalties shift, Psyche realizes Eros might take her heart after all, and she's not sure she can survive the loss. And just by that, you can get a good idea of what the plot would be about. But yeah, personally, I'm liking this series so far. People that aren't into spice won't like it, and that's just a fact at that point. These and then one other are the spiciest books I have in this batch from 2023. But I'm invested in this series, and they all kind of tie in together, so like a lot from the first book is tied into this book, so it definitely would make the most sense to read them in order. But I believe the next book is called Wicked Beauty, and it's on my TBR. So that was Electric Idol by Katie Robert. Okay, so now we're getting into the point where I was really getting into reading and was reading book after book. And this was right around Halloween time, so these next few are going to be kind of spooky books. And the first one is called The Psychic by Loveland Bettison. This is a paranormal book, and it follows the main character who poses as a psychic and then realizes she has actual abilities to see the dead. crispy paper, if that makes sense. Like it's, I don't know, it's like a thicker, crispier paper. I think the cover is cool too. It's nice and spooky. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one, and all my books are rated on my Goodreads, and I'm not someone that's like super hardcore with how many stars I give a book. Basically, if it keeps me hooked and interested, and I like the plot and just the overall vibe of the book, I'm gonna give it like 5 stars. I'm not that picky. If you want really insightful reviews, I'm not the one. I just enjoy stuff that keeps me interested, because if you can't keep me interested, then it's not that good. But if you keep me interested, I have no problem giving a book a high rating, and it just varies person to person. Everyone has different preferences and whatnot, and mine are just to keep me interested and have a very good plot to keep me hooked. So yeah, that was The Psychic. The next book I have is in the horror genre, and it's called All Hallows Eve by Michael Penning. The cover is really cool on this one. So this follows the main character, Alice, who moved to Salem and didn't believe in all the folklore surrounding witch trials and ghosts and the All Hallows Eve haunting of the ghost of Rebecca Hale. And that ghost is known to snatch children's souls. And then one night, Alice gets her daughter taken in the middle of the night, and she begins a journey to find her. And then there's other characters that encounter a similar situation, and then they find each other throughout the book, but there's a lot of violence and gory scenes in this one. So if you're a fan of horror, you might really like this one. This is a nice spooky read. I'm going to try to go through these a little bit quicker so the video isn't first book in a series, and this is the other spicy book I was talking about. And this one is called Deal with the Demon by Kayla Rain and Meg Ann. And this is part of the Main Games Pestilence series. So, another top read for me. It was spicy and the plot was really, really good in my opinion. I personally loved this book so much. And I finally found the second book with the same cover in paperback, and I'm ordering it and can't wait to read it. And the cover's really pretty on this one, again with like the matte black and the gold. So pretty. So this is like a fantasy style book, but it's set in a small town in Alaska where nobody goes to. And it follows werewolves, fae, vampires, like you name it. And let me read you the back. Rosalind Blackthorn is dead, technically. I faked my death to get out of a loveless marriage, but that was only half the battle. To ensure my vampire duke can never find me, I have to run far and fast enough he can't catch me. Because if he does, it's over. Not just my life, for real this time, but my entire family's. So how does the princess of the Blackthorn vampires disappear in a world where every supernatural creature knows who she is? Summon a demon, of course. Ban agrees to keep me hidden, help me start a new life for a cost, and it's not my soul he's after. Oh no, he wants my blood and my body. But so do they, the Shifter twins, the cursed hacker, and of course, my estranged husband. Starting over should be easy after my bargain with the demon. New name, a new job, a new reality in a tiny town where no one would think to search. Welcome to Aurora Springs, Alaska, a sleepy place where everyone is hiding something and nothing ever happens. At least it was until I arrived and people started dropping like flies. It looks like I brought my past and a whole host of other problems with me, but that's not a big deal, right? It's not the end of the world or anything. And again, there's a lot of spice in this book, so if you're not a fan of spice, avoid this series. That's all I'm gonna say. When I first got it, I wasn't sure like how good it would be, and it ended up surprising me so much, and I just really, really enjoyed it. Okay, so that is Deal with the Demon. Next up, we have The Housemaid, another top read of mine from 2023. And this, along with a few other books, were gifted to me from one of my lovely subscribers. And this book was so good. It was a page turner, just like The Only One Left. And Frida McFadden is definitely an author I want to keep reading work from because this was so, so good. And I want to read the next one too, The Housemaid's Secret. Again, I was pretty shocked by the twists in this book. I wasn't expecting them at all. So, I read this one in like 2 or 3 days as well. But basically, this is about a girl who has some secrets from her past, and she gets hired to be a housemaid for a couple that has seemingly a wife that is miserable and horrible. And she starts to uncover different personally loved it so much. I feel like these books are altering my brain chemistry, and I can confidently say a book has never made me feel the way that I feel about this series so far. I love this world. I want to like jump into this world. It's incredible. I love her writing style. It's beautiful. It's beautiful writing. And I feel like I can't even explain the book, because if you know, you know. And honestly, no matter what I say will not do this book justice. So read it for yourself and be the judge of it. It is just everything. And this book also makes me feel like I don't genuinely know how I'm gonna read anything else after it, because it is just so good. Like, I am so immersed in the story. And I'm trying to take my time with the second one, even though I am getting pretty close to finishing the book, because I don't want it to end. It's so good. But yeah, number one book of 2023. And the final book that I finished last year was Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This was another one that my subscriber gifted me. And this is the first book that I really like annotated. I mean, there's not a ton, but that's enough for me because I don't really do that. But there are a lot of good lines in here that I wanted to remember. Again, there's twists and turns in this book. And it's about a couple that goes on a retreat, little trip, just the two of them, to try and save their marriage. And let me tell you, the twists in this book, I did not see them coming at all. And it's basically told in multiple perspectives.